Welcome back, all our 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ.
And I'm Lane.
And we're here with Tim's Nation to give you another Warhammer 40K battle report. This one has a very strong stipulation. For if I win today, Lane is never to play DeathWatch in the Index on the channel again. But if he wins today, he will never play DeathWatch Index on the channel.
Yes, thank you for joking about my loss, DJ. I really appreciate it.
We got to. The best way to get through the pain is with humor, is it not?
I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out.
But here we are. It has come the time. This is the time where Lane will be having his final match this weekend. Lane will be traveling to
Columbus. I'll be at the Arch City GT this weekend, 64-player GT, 5 rounds. This will be the final time I get to play the DeathWatch competitively because they just announced this past weekend the pre-orders for the Imperial Agents Codex. So DeathWatch as a standalone army will be going away. I'll be still playing around with them. I'll still be using them as allies and Space Marines, and the Imperial Agent Codex, I'll still be doing that too, but no more standalone DeathWatch.
Well, who knows? Who knows? I mean, looking at the pictures of that book is thick with 3 Cs. So there might be enough room in there for it, especially because of the fact, like we said before, standalone, you've always kind of had to piggyback off the Space Marine book. So with kill teams, I mean, really, you could make a very deep DeathWatch book with like 2 pages of how to build a kill team.
Yeah, they said there's 4 data sheets, DJ, so it's not...
Listen. 4 data sheets.
No, your definition of
4
deep,
data sheets.
4 whole data sheets.
And
2
remember,
Witcher characters.
hey, we're keeping this a PG programming.
Right.
And 4 data sheets, but that doesn't mean that there's not other pages included, like detachments and stuff. They only said 4 data sheets.
We can guess and guess and guess and guess. We'll see.
Needless to say, I just want to keep your hopes up, buddy.
Right. No, all is lost. Woe is me. But when we get the actual book, I will be, I'll review it and go through it and talk to you guys about it.
Right, and if you guys want to hear all about that, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell to get notified on all the content that we bring you here on the channel, including our army descriptions that we put out before this, our post game, and as things start to calm down once again around here, we'll be doing more reviews on other units. One of my upcoming ones is about the Overlords. I believe Overlords are underrated in the Necron army, and I can't wait to do a little video and talk all about that. And then Lane, like Lane mentioned, we're going to be reviewing this Agents of the Imperium Index Codex. That's going to be very interesting. So far, only thing we've seen is that split point values. I like hearing that. That means that maybe some good units because we don't have to worry so much about the ally portion. A big fear I always have with it is that units that become good get nerfed and get slaughtered because you can ally them with anything. Mm-hmm. So by having those split point costs, that kind of helps that so we can still have a good unit as far as the army is concerned, but moderated on point costs for the ally. So that's actually good. I'm glad to see they did something with that because it's a big fear I've always had with it. The models look really cool that we're seeing it coming out. Not a big fan of the new Kotias model.
No.
Very dome-like. Looks very much like a droid.
He's looked like a cosplayer, man. That armor looks like somebody made that out of foam and painted it gold. I don't know. I probably won't be picking him up.
All right, but talking about models that we have picked up, Lane, why don't you talk to us about the DeathWatch they're bringing it today and this weekend?
All right, as DJ said, if you want to know more about these models, the units, their special abilities, and how we plan to use them, please check out our individual army breakdown list videos that we have on the channel here. But as for this today, I have, this is it, last ride of the DeathWatch, guys. This is a DeathWatch army. It's the Black Spear Task Force, the DeathWatch specific detachment. We have 2 Watchmasters. Couldn't squeeze in the Thief of Secrets, so they're just as they are. The one that has no servo skull floating around him will be my Warlord for the purposes of his CP increase, increasing the cost of my opponent's CP. But we got 2 Watchmasters. We have 1 Captain with Jump Pack who has the Tome of Vectorglades, and we have, as always, 1 Apothecary Biologus with a Beacon and Jealous. Battle line units, I have 2 5-mans of DeathWatch veterans. They have 2 Heavy Thunderhammers, 2 Frag Cannons, and a Sergeant with a Storm Shield and a Xenophase Blade. We have 1 Rhino dedicated transport. We have 3 Jump Pack Intercessor squads. That's the only thing in the list that's not quite WYSIWYG. I still have to get a hold of a 3rd jump back intercessor box and get it built and painted before this weekend. I've got a couple old DeathWatch veterans with jump packs in here that are going to make up the third squad, but we've got 3 of those. We have 1 6-mana Devastator Centurions with Twin Link Las Cannon and the Devastator missiles. We have 2 drop pods. We have a 6-mana Eradicator squad with 2 multi-meltas, and we have 2 10-man Stern Guard squads with 2 heavy bolters. DJ, what is it that you're bringing today?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get ready to Grey Knight. Here is my Grey Knight army that we bring today, and as we all know, Grey Knights like to jump around the field. With this being a 2,000-point game, I can pick up 3 units, put them in strategic, and put them down on the battlefield. The units that I will be bringing are 3 regular Dread Knights with Psy Cannon, Silencer, and Hammer. I have a Grand Master with a Sigil of Excellence, also with a Hammer and Psy Cannon Silencer. 2 Solo Librarians, a 10-man squad of the Terminators, led by a Grand Master, and last but surely not least, our homeboy Castellan Crow and his 10 Purifiers that have 4 Incinerators in there. And that's my Silvericious list.
Silverlicious?
Silverlicious.
It's a very elite-looking list. You don't have a whole lot of units there.
Nope, never needed them, though.
We'll see what Pride Nexus has to say about that.
See, and for me, being a wrestling fan, when someone retires, they usually lose, and they go out on their shield. So I'm going to try and keep that tradition, and I'm going to punch these DeathWatch into oblivion, because as Game of Thrones has said, only in death does the watch truly end.
All right. Well, I am going to contest that. I'm going to disagree with you and see if we can get a win here. Go out in style.
Objection. That's throwing that in there. Objection. So that's what we're looking at today. That's what we have. We're both going. I'm going for blood. I'm not going to be nice just because this is Lane's last game with it, because he is prepping for a tournament. So he needs me to give it to him big and nasty.
Yep.
And I'm ready to do that.
Try to hurt me.
But with that being said, I am going to be courteous to Lane. Lane, do you wish to deploy first or second? No foam dice roll today. Just you pick.
I don't think either of us has any infiltrators, right? So
No.
I guess I'll have you drop first because you've only got like 4.5 units.
All right. And I'm going to let Lane won our last game, so I'm letting him do this. Also, this is tournament prep, so I want him to kind of have a little more time to kind of try to figure this out. Because with Grey Knights, a lot of it is really, I'm putting my army on the table, and then I end up everywhere else as it is. So it's not as important for this matchup, but it's just allow Lane to have a little more of that luxury to see what's going into it for tournament time. All right, we'll be back after deployment. All right, we are deployed. Lane, talk to us about what we are doing here today.
We are playing the glorious game of Warhammer 40,000, and we are going to be using a deployment of Dawn of War. So this is as I always say, this is the way Warhammer is meant to be played, although on this train it's kind of tricky to hide the way we have the train laid out. The primary mission today is going to be Purge the Foe. This is kill 1, kill more, hold 1, hold more. 4 points if you kill a unit during your turn. Another 4 points if you kill more units during the battle round that your opponent did. At the start of your turn, each of your command phases starting round 2, if you hold an objective, you get 4 points. If you hold more than your opponent, you get another 4. And then they modified this a little bit. In round 1, you can score 4 points for killing an enemy unit, but you do not get kill more in round 1. That only starts in round 2. Yeah, and then our mission rule is raise the banners. So each time in your command phase, if you hold an objective with a battle line unit, you get 1 point that goes towards your secondaries. You can only do it to each objective 1 time.
I have 1 battle line unit. What do you have?
I have 2.
You have 2.
Yep, DeathWatch vets.
All right, so let's talk about deployment. Like Lane said, this is tough with this map layout, which we are going to be changing up the terrain here soon, going into a new layout, but not today. And with that, that means that it is really actually hard to hide initially, especially considering I can get up and jump around. Lane has the ability to jump around too, a bunch of deep strike and stuff like that. So it's going to be very difficult to utilize the terrain to block line of sight. So I started by putting the Grandmaster right out here, right out in the middle. He has a sigil, so if Lane decides to shoot at him, I can pick him up and move somewhere else. Lane will probably end up doing that just to pop it and get rid of that to not have to worry about it later in the game. But I'm totally cool with that. That's a big thing if I go second. If I go first, he's in position to tag 2 objectives if I wish. As for my other Dread Knights are back here, kind of trying to protect and zone some stuff out. And then same with the purifiers are kind of protecting. So if Lane tries to drop in there and try and hit my Dread Knights, I can kind of burn them to the ground. Lane has quite a bit of infantry, so I would like to have the purifiers later into the game. But the Dread Knights are still such a big, big value tool that protecting them and keeping them at full health is primary. In reserve, we have the 10 Terminators with the Grandmaster and First to the Fray enhancement, a single Dread Knight, and one more Librarian. All right, Lane, talk to us about your deployment.
We just hit as much as we can. I do not want to get shot by those Nemesis Dread Knight battle cannons. So this, like I said, the way we have the terrain laid out makes it difficult to hide, especially from Grey Knights with their 3-inch deep strike and their first turn deep strike with First to the Fray. So we're just hiding as much as we can.
Yep, and that's what we see. We got, so right in here in the Rhino, you have 2 squads in here?
There's 2 squads in the Rhinos. That's 2 5-man DeathWatch veterans, each one led by a Watchmaster.
Now, only one Watchmaster reduces the CP cost.
Yeah, so we're saying that this one that does not have a servo skull floating on it is my Warlord. So he's the one that causes all your CP, all your strats to cost 1 additional
and
CP.
no Calidus Assassin today.
No Calidus.
All right. And then you have, like you said, 3 jump squads there and there.
Yeah, the captain's in this one. He's got my Tome of Ectoclades relic. We got the Dev Sense kind of hiding behind here, hoping they don't get shot before they get to do some shooting. And the rest we have in Deep Strike. We have the Eradicator Squad in Deep Strike, and we have 2 10-mans of Stern Guard and drop pods.
All right. So in this matchup, with the way things are set up, what would you prefer, going first or second?
Well, second. I don't want you to go second.
That's the whole. You just wanted to.
Grey Knights.
Yeah, I think Grey Knights going second is pretty huge. I would actually prefer going first, honestly. I get my wish.
You get to go first.
So I will be going first. Lane, do you ever go first anymore?
I don't know. It's been a while.
Seriously, someone stat check that. I don't think I've lost a roll off versus Lane in a very long time. All right. Well, Lane, it's time to play the game. For Grey Knight turn 1, we're looking at Bring It Down and Overwhelming Force. So what we did, we advanced the purifiers up. 3 of them are now able to be seen. And then we just tag the objective. So we're just covering that objective for later turns. Make, you have a little bit of presence, make lane, make plays. Over here, this Dread Knight sat still because he's going to get out of here as soon as possible. And then the Grandmaster just dropped back to touch the objective. Nothing else extra there. Thought about moving him into center to put shots onto the Rhino and stuff like that. It was a thought, but I just want to make sure we got this objective. If Lane tries to shoot at me, then I can bounce somewhere else. We're looking for playing into the next turns, playing into later turns on that one, not being too aggressive. Speaking of too aggressive, spend a command point to drop these guys 3 inches away. So for Overwhelming Force, we're going to try to pick up the 5-man Marine squad that's behind the Rhino and leave the Rhino itself alone. I do have Bring It Down, but I don't feel like I have the damage output to be able to take that out. If I can get 2 Dread Knights on it, it's gone. But I can only get 1 Dread Knight on it. And a single Dread Knight could pop the Rhino, i.e. the Grandmaster. But if I roll poorly, then the Grandmaster is exposed. And, I mean, yes, Sigil, all that jazz. I like my defensive play a little better. So, and I don't feel confident behind that. 5-man squad of Marines, let's take them out. So, these Terminators are going to land and they're going to shoot at them. All right, let's do some shooting. Success. So we killed a unit for the primary for 4 points, and we also killed a unit on objective markers. We'll get 3 on Overwhelming Force. We're going to pitch Bring It Down for a CP. Still kind of second guessing if I should have brought this Grandmaster to center to try to possibly make a charge and stuff like that. I don't know. I think that's overextending myself too early, says the guy with Terminator sitting right there. But I don't want to get that crazy with it right off rip because I got plans. So, all right. That's it for my turn. Let's kick it over to Lane and the DeathWatch turn 1.
Turn 1, guys, we pull Recover Assets and Cleanse, and we are just friggin' going for it. We pop our Tome of Ectoclades this first turn. DJ gave me these Terminators. The only thing I got to do is send them right back to them. So the 2 squads here, the DeathWatch veterans and the Watchmasters, got out. They disembarked, and a disembark will not trigger, you'll not be able to trigger actions, stratagems, or abilities based off that. So he can't miss the Demos away from that. Other than that, I made sure that I did not complete any moves within 9 inches of him. The Rhino moved here, so he can cleanse, but he's more than 9 away at the end of his move. Everybody else just dropped in. So we got these jump intercessors that are cleansing here. I'm sorry, they're doing recovering assets. This drop pod is cleansing because it's touching the objective. This rhino is cleansing because it's touching the objective. And this drop pod is recovering assets in my deployment zone. Other than that, we tomed this unit, of course, as to make these Terminators go away. And we pop sustain this turn. We also tomed this one over here, this Nemesis Dread Knight, because my dev sense will have a straight line to him. He won't get cover. He can pop his quick True Silver Armor if he wants to, but they'll be shooting him and hopefully can pick him up. I think it's still a big win if I just get these Terminators here. So let's see what happens. Well, we did some shooting. The frag cannons get a ton of shots when they're this close into a big brick. And DJ rolled some ones for me, so I think we picked up 2 whole Terminators from the frag cannon shooting from these guys. And then just our dev wounds, our Tome of Ectoclades, devastating wounds from both the Stern Guard squads. This one and this one here, we're able to chew through and pick up all 10 Terminators. So
down
it's just the character.
To the wound.
DJ tried to stay alive. He did do True Silver on this unit because everything shooting at him was AP1. And he used the Grandmaster's once per game thing because the Watchmaster here makes it so it would be 2 CP, but he reduced by 1 and spent 1 CP to do it. So he did True Silver there, didn't pay off. And then the Devastator Centurions picked up that Nemesis Dread Knight pretty handily. 6 last cannon shots, got 8 hits and 8 wounds, so it was able to chew through there pretty fast. So pretty good destruction. We've got Cleanse for 2 and Recover Assets. We'll see what survives. Until the end of DJ's turn. That's it. Oh, no, we got to charge. Sorry.
Yeah.
We got to charge.
Gonna stand there?
We're going to charge and
you
fight
can just
here.
Stand there and
We're
not
going to bonk.
Yeah.
Time to bonk. We'll roll our charges and then be back. Surprise, surprise. All these guys were able to punch through a Terminator Grandmaster. Watchmaster gets hitting on 2s with full rerolls and sustained and wounding on 2s. We're able to chew through and pick them up between the Watchmaster and the Thunderhammer. So that's it for my turn. We do score 4 for Cleanse because we did 2, and then Recover Assets completes in DJ's turn. We'll see if I survive through that. On to DJ.
So after the sad, sad loss of my Terminators, we're coming back for vengeance. Good thing is that, yes, losing the Terminators is tough, but that means that the Tome of Ectoclades is gone. It's been used. So now Lane's got to rely on rolling 6s to do those dev wounds. For this turn, I got Recover Assets and Sabotage, which both require me to do a action. Yeah, I don't want to do that. We're just going to try and destroy some stuff. I want to try and push Lane back and score points later on in the game. So this mission doesn't matter how many objectives I hold. So I only held 1 at the beginning for 4 points. And we're just going to go and destroy some stuff. So we spend a command point to drop the Purifiers within 3 inches. And they're going to try and go all anti-infantry happy on these guys. Grandmaster moved up. He's going to send the Rhino into oblivion, punt him off the table, and he's going to try and shoot at some of these what are the veterans over here. Mm-hmm. And then this Dread Knight back here landed. He is 24 inches from that first squad of veterans, so he can shoot at them if he doesn't need to go at these Centurions who have claimed a Dread Knight and now a Librarian on the Overwatch. I knew it was risky. I knew it was going to happen, but no Dread Knights were removed for that, so I'll take that, I guess. Lane has a lot of damage, so that's going to happen. But that doesn't stop him from getting another Librarian. So we brought another Librarian down, and we have a Dread Knight here, so we're going to hurt these Centurions. And depending on how that goes with these 2 is going to depend on where he ends up shooting afterwards. So, all right, we got some stuff to shoot. Well, we did some work here. We weren't able to fully pick up the Centurions, which is usually what I love to do. We did take out half of them with the Librarian and 2 Dread Knights, putting their firepower down. Grandmaster did pretty well in taking out most of the Warlord squad, but still 2 frag cannons and the Warlord are alive, so we got rid of everybody else, though. The Purifiers were able to reduce the squad down to just 3, which happens to be 2 Heavy Bolters and a Power Fist, so we'll be dealing with that next turn, but we still have some charges to do. I need to kick that Rhino into oblivion. All right, let's do some charges and kick a Rhino. Like I said, kicked into oblivion. All right, so that's going to finish out my turn. I'm going to pitch Recover Assets, but I'm going to hold on to Sabotage, and we're going to pass this over to Lane. We only got 1 unit right now for this turn, but I do have some threatening Overwatch potential. So, all right, let's send this over to Lane.
We pulled Marked for Death and Behind Enemy Lines. So these jump intercessors jumped over here, advanced, so they get behind enemy lines. The dev sensor already behind enemy lines. We're going to be shooting at these guys. The Eradicators dropped in here so that we can do Marked for Death. DJ picked the 3 remaining and Nemesis Dread Knight. So I just have to pick up one of these Dreadies, and we get Marked for Death for 5 points. And we oath a momented these guys. We made sure not to move anyone who was close to them. And we're just going to focus on shooting them, hopefully getting some devastating wounds through there to get past their 2-up armor. Yep, that's what we're going to do. Going to do some shooting. Be back in a minute. Shooting and picked away at this squad. So there's 3 guys left and Crow. We did pick up this Nemesis Dread Knight with the Eradicators. And then this Nemesis Dread Knight took a beating from the dev sense, and he is down to a single wound. That's it for the shooting. We're going to charge those the purifiers and see if we can pick them up. So we bonked. We picked up the rest of the guys in that squad and weren't able to pick up Crow because he can 0 out 1 failed save. Otherwise, he would have been dead. He swung back and got 5 wounds, but I tanked them all in the Storm Shield. I rolled all 4-ups. Actually, they were all 5s and 6s, so we just tanked the damage. He wasn't able to hurt us back. That's it for my turn, so we definitely get Marked for Death for killing the 1 Nemesis Dread Knight and Behind Enemy Lines because I got 2 units back there. So it's going to be 9 points on secondaries, and I got the kill more too. On to DJ.
So things are not looking well. Not being aggressive in the early part of the game is kind of hurting me. I probably should have pushed further quicker. We'll talk about that in the post game. Right now, we're looking at no prisoners and sabotage. So it's going to be goal is going to be to keep doing damage. So we didn't move the Dread Knight. He stayed, and the Librarian stayed. And we're going to try and get rid of these Centurions. I need them off the table. The Grand Master swept around over here, and he's going to shoot at and charge into these Marines and try and pick them up. And Crow is going to, well...
survive, Crow, survive.
For another 30 seconds. So that's where we're kind of at with everything right now. I mean, I can do a lot of good damage still because I still have them, but we'll see we'll see how this plays out. All right, time to do some shooting. Oh, the dice are not being friendly to me. Over here, with the Librarian and the Dread Knight, we were only able to pick up 1 single Centurion, which is really, 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 really bad. Over here, we shot, we charged, we could not, out of the attacks I put on these dudes, I could only kill 1 in combat. Really sad there. And we did a little bit of damage to the pod. I did split attacks, but oh man, I cannot buy a good dice roll. Seriously, 1 CP for a good dice roll. And that's really about it. Oh, and Crow is gone as well too. So not looking too tough over there. For no prisoners, we didn't even kill a unit. So we don't get no prisoners. So we'll pitch sabotage for a CP. We'll keep no prisoners in case we happen to kill anything that we're kind of dealing with. And let Lane continue on with the onslaught.
So for my turn 3, we're going to secure no man's land and no prisoners. Getting on objectives and killing things. My favorite things to do in Warhammer, guys. So we picked the Grandmaster and Dread Knight Armory as our oath targets. We're not going to shoot him. We just check the rules, and the Sigil of Exigence allows him to bop away, even if he's in engagement range. I was thinking about dropping in the Eradicators and shooting him, but thought because he was still within engagement range of these guys that that it might prevent him from jumping away, but it doesn't. So what we did instead, the Watchmasters allow their units to advance and charge, so we're just going to advance up here. We're not going to shoot him. Just going to try and get into a charge and see if we can do some bopping on him. Again, he is our oath target. Dev Sense stayed still. And then the Eradicators came in here because I have secure no man's land. They're dropping on this objective and getting in range so they can do some shooting here, pick up a Librarian and this Nemesis Dread Knight. And that's that. So we're going to do some shooting. All right, so we were able to zap the Nemesis Dread Knight and the Librarian between the Eradicators over there and the Dev Sense over here. And we charged in with the Watchmaster. Just one of them made it. This one rolled a 4, so it didn't make it in. We were only able to bonk off a couple wounds from this guy, so got him from 13 down to 10. He swung back and made a couple 6-up saves to DJ's great chagrin. So the drop pod survived again. This guy survived, and he got the last 2 frag cannons out of the Watchmaster squad. So that's it for my turn. Scored Secure No Man's Land and got 4 points for no prisoners for 2 kills.
All right, well, my turn is pretty simple. Navro, this is the movement, the shooting, and the fight phase. So in the movement phase, we did nothing. In the shooting phase, we shot and were able to pick up only 2 of these guys because, you know, Lane doesn't like to fail armor saves today. And in the fight phase, once again, Lane doesn't like to fail saves, but we did pick up the pod and the solo dude, but I literally had to spend a command point to re-roll the damage into that one dude because I rolled double 1s to wound him.
Hilariously, that means that DJ gets the kill more because he killed 2 units in this turn, and he only has 1 unit left. So if I kill him, I only get 1 kill. So he does actually score a couple primaries off of that, getting 8 on kill more.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to be it for my turn. Let's hand it over to Lane.
So we pulled Bring It Down. I pulled Overwhelming Force. DJ doesn't have any units on model, so I did spend 1 of my CP to discard Overwhelming Force and pulled Engage in All Fronts, which I am able to do. We are fully engaged. So we oathed the last remaining Grandmaster and Nemesis Dread Knight. I can't shoot him because if I shoot him, he runs away because of Sigil of Exigence. So we're just going to charge. We got 1 Watchmaster still in engagement. This Watchmaster squad coming into punch, and the Jump Captain's squad coming into punch as well. So that's all we're going to do. No shooting. Time to punch. Okay, so on my turn, we picked up the Nemesis Dread Knight. We did not shoot at him because we don't want to pop away. We charged in the Captain's Jump Pack squad and the other Watchmaster squad. Came in, did a bunch of punching. DJ did True Silver because the Nemesis Dread Knight reduces the cost by 1, offsetting the Watchmaster's increase by 1.
Reduces them down to 1. Always. Like, that's what the Grandmaster. Okay. Anytime you talk about the strat, it reduces the cost down to 1.
So an interesting counter to my Watchmaster.
Literally the only thing that
the only time it comes in play. However, it did not save him because he is not there anymore. So we charged in and did a whole bunch of punching, and we're able to get him down and pick him up. So I scored Bring It Down and Engage in All Fronts. And then we're just talking out the last turn here. DJ's not on the table anymore, so I did pull Sabotage and Containment, which I'm able to do both of those. Sabotage in DJ's deployment zone for 6 points, and Containment and 2 table sides. So we got 2 table edges here, Jump Intercessors and Dev Sense, and then we uppy downy the Eradicators, so they dropped in here to Sabotage. So that's another big 12. So I came up a couple points short of 100 for the DeathWatch here. 94 for the DeathWatch, 41 for the Grey Knights. So decisive win there. I'm feeling pretty good going into this GT. But follow us over to the post-game battle report, and we'll talk it out.